And the sustainability meeting is now called to order. Council Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Calling the roll, Ms. Brown.
Here.
Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones is absent at the moment. Mr. Shrine.
Here.
Mr. Brady.
Here.
Ms. Simon. Ms. Simon is absent. There is a quorum.
Thank you so much. Is there any public comment related to the agenda?
No, Madam Chair, no one is signed in.
Thank you. We have before us the minutes from the February 3rd meeting. I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The minutes have been approved. Let's move on to the first item on the agenda. Would you please read that into the record?
Resolution number 2016-0044, authorizing an agreement with City of Cleveland Department of Public Health in the amount not to exceed $682,276 for administration and coordination of the Moms First program in connection with the Invest in Children program for the period 1/1/2016 through 12/31/2017.
Thank you so much. It also looks like we have a PowerPoint presentation. I see you've stepped up. Would you please state your name and affiliation and what it is you're requesting today?
Dr. Rebecca Dorman. I am the Director of Invest in Children in the Office of Early Childhood. And we are first requesting approval of our contract with Moms First. And how do we,
And let the record reflect, Councilman Jones is now in attendance.
Okay.
Want me to do that?
How do we, you want to advance it?
We need to get it to slide share.
All right. I'm a little out of practice. We haven't been in front of you for a while.
Okay.
So, okay. So, as you know, infant mortality is a huge concern in our community. We are really lucky that since 1991, the Cleveland Department of Public Health has been a recipient of a large federal grant, about $2 million a year, for the program that we refer to locally as Moms First. We have, and the program is aimed, as you see, at reducing disparities in infant mortality and reducing poor birth outcomes in the city of Cleveland. We have been at Invest in Children supporting that program with additional funds for a number of years to increase the number of moms that the program is able to serve. And so this contract is for the next 2-year period. Happy to answer any questions you may have about the program. Oh, sorry, almost forgot. We have outcomes to share with you too. So as you can see, the program is reaching a large number of moms of pregnant women, 1,830. Of those, our dollars, which is $341,000, we're able to allow them to expand by 361 pregnant women, and the birth outcomes are really extraordinary for the program, as you see below. And this is an independent evaluation conducted by our evaluators at Case Western Reserve. So if you just looking at the differences, you see, and these are groups of women that are matched on demographic variables. So 2 groups of women who same levels of risk, but outcomes very different based on whether or not they were served by Moms First. So adequate prenatal care was 50% in the Moms First group versus 43%, as you can see. Low birth weight, 11.8% versus a much higher rate of 16.7%, and likewise with the prematurity. And low birth weight and prematurity are the two of the major causes of infant mortality. So that's a really wonderful outcome. So we think the dollars are well spent. We're delighted to be able to partner with the city on this program.
Thank you. Questions from the committee? Yes.
Chairperson, thank you. Two, really, either one of you or both of you are familiar with the program now after a few years. How does this fit in to the administration's infant mortality initiative? Is it different from it? Is it separate from it? Is it the same thing? Is it part of it? I mean, I know we've been doing this. I'm really just
With First Year Cleveland.
Trying to understand.
Yeah. So I know that in all of the planning meetings that were led by Kevin Kelly, in addition to a member of the Invest in Children staff being there, John Ladd, Lisa Matthews, who is the program director, was at the table. I don't, where First Year Cleveland stands, as I understand it at this moment, is that an RFP was issued by the city for the fiscal agent for First Year Cleveland, and they're reviewing proposals, that they have finalists. That's as much as I know. We weren't part of the review team on those proposals. And so I think once that organization is selected, and then things will really start to move, and we'll figure out all the pieces of the puzzle and how they fit together. Because I think a large part of what I heard, people think is needed is there's this fabulous program, there's our newborn home visit program, there's Help Me Grow home visiting, et cetera. How do we achieve the collective impact, excuse me, by, is there a way to collaborate and coordinate more effectively? I think those are probably some of the things they'll be looking at.
So just one follow-up, Madam Chairperson. But we are collaborating. We are coordinating. We are bringing to bear the expertise and the experience that people who've been working in this area a lot, as part of, we'll call it Kevin Kelly and Armin Budish, just to put a handle on it.
So, right, I think during the planning stages before, the RFP was issued, definitely all the key players were sitting at the table, as I said. I think, there's been a lull until they select the entity to move things forward. And then I assume there'll be another convening, and the work will really start.
I just want to, be comfortable that, as they say, the right hand knows what the left hand's doing.
Mm-hmm. Totally understand that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson.
Councilman Jones?
Okay. When Sharon Zobel Jordan actually presented on infant mortality, they had a flow chart, and the flow chart had, I believe, the committee that you just referenced, and actually Councilman Dan Brady and myself are on that committee. We were invited by Kevin Kelly to be a part of it. My first thought is a lot has happened, and we have not as of yet been in the committee and in any of the formative stages of these things, and we're hearing RFPs are going out. When I go back to that flow chart, and I'm asking staff for it because I need to see it again, but what I do remember from the flow chart was there was a fully developed segment of it, and it flowed through council, and there was council oversight, but there was also a second arrow flowing off of the committee that we sit on that Sharon said was just not fully developed as of yet, but money could potentially flow through that pipeline as well. My concern now is any money flowing through that pipeline, does this council have oversight, or where the chart flows, we would not have oversight over that money as it passed through? That's not so much a question, you certainly can comment, but I wanted to lay that out. And I'm still asking the staff to get us that flow chart again that was presented during the budget hearing process so that we can see it. Are you familiar with that? Any comments?
I remember that. This is just not something that was, I heard the same things you heard, and I'm sorry I can't offer any more explanation about that.
That's fair enough. My concern now is that knowing what infant mortality is, who it impacts, I think it's important that this council have that oversight, because these children are constituents of everyone that sits across this council. So to have significant dollars, and my understanding is that there is $10 million over 2 years coming through Medicaid for this, and that's what we're talking about, the RFPs, but there's $10 million for Medicaid. We approved roughly $1.5 million. City of Cleveland is providing $250,000.
Yeah, I'm not clear I know that there was some Medicaid dollars that the state was offering. I don't think it was 10 million, and I know that there was some work done on that, and I'm not sure the status of that either. I'm sorry, I'm not being very helpful.
That's all right. Again, had we been able to attend the meeting that was scheduled at the same time of as our council meeting, then we would probably be able to tell you as opposed to asking. But that's where we are, and since I'm a part of the committee, I want to uphold my responsibilities. So again, my general, let me do this. Let me come back and ask you a question. Let me come back into your wheelhouse. As you provide the services for our children, describe the work that you actually do. I'm asking this against the backdrop of whatever we ultimately build. How does what you do tie into that? And will we be looking to scale up what you do or find more innovative ways of doing something? So that's the heart of my question. Kind of give me an illustration of what you actually do to serve these women.
Sure. Well, certainly everything we do is done, we provide funding and some oversight and collaborate. As you know, everything's done by other entities. So in addition to Moms First, which is this model that's been around for 25 years, that is the community health worker model, where, we also fund the newborn home visit program. And, infant mortality is up till the first year of life. So that's already been through this year. Has newborn home visit already been approved and through? So you'll be seeing that, right? We had a glitch there. So we'll be talking about that soon in front of the committee. Our newborn home visit program, which is with the Board of Health as our implementing agency, that provides a one-time RN visit to families on Medicaid, which is voluntary. So that's, and in addition to the head-to-toe exam of the infant, there's an exam of the mom, and there's an environmental scan of the home. Are there health or safety hazards in the home related to the sleep situation, carbon monoxide detectors, smoke, all that kind of stuff. And then the nurse makes referrals. So that's, our program, Invest in Children's program. There is the Bright Beginnings home visiting program, which it can be available during the prenatal or first year of life, but it's really there as a backdrop against the other programs that are only designed, like Moms First, to serve during pregnancy, but they're Bright Beginnings is there, again, to do many of the same things, provide support, help connect the family to other resources as needed. There's a brand new program starting with funding from the Mount Sinai Foundation, the Nurse Family, well, it's new to Cleveland, the Nurse Family Partnership Program, which is a nurse home visiting program that Metro is going to be implementing, which will be serving essentially the same population, but we know that they're of pregnant, low-income women, this time in the whole county. The nurse home visiting model has been well-tested, and we know that even with all the programs that are currently being provided, and there are others that we're not directly involved in, that there's still at least 1,000 women who are not getting served. So there's room for another program. What we're working on now, and we just had a meeting recently, is how the triage works in the community. And that's really, I think, speaks to what First Year Cleveland wants to do, and we're already doing, and I'm sure they'll build on it. Help Me Grow's central site is serving as the, resource and referral and the triage for the community on all of these home visiting programs. And the goal is to maximize the resources. So for example, if a referral comes in for a pregnant woman in the city of Cleveland, you would send them to Moms First. If it's outside the county, you potentially will send them to this new program, Nurse Family Partnership, et cetera, et cetera. So each program has some eligibility requirements, and what Help Me Grow does at their central site is try to make sure we plug the family into the program that eligibility they meet and make the resources go as far as possible. So we're part of those conversations too.
Do you have a community engagement piece where in terms of infant mortality, where you, I don't know, maybe an advisory committee or those who are been through infant mortality, where you just talk with them, get guidance from them, their insight
For people who've lost
for people
babies?
who've lost babies?
We don't do anything directly like that. We do have one of our staff sits on the Fatality Review Committee for the community that looks at every infant death, every child death, and does sort of the debrief and look at what's happened, but families aren't directly part of those conversations.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions, comments from the committee? I have a few of my own. You spoke about the nurse-family partnership. You said that it's new and well-tested and that families might be directed outside of the county. Where does the funds come from for this program?
So right now, Mount Sinai is the lead funder, and those funds are not coming through us. We're there as a collaborator. I believe they have some other philanthropic funding. What we're looking at closely is some federal funding, which has come to the state in the past and has not yet come to Cuyahoga County, but we've been advocating on this for a number of years. And I've been assured this time by the person at ODH who manages the program that in the next go-round, we should know in April, provided Ohio still gets the money. It's McPhee is the name, maternal infant, I'm sorry, I can't remember the acronym, but it's these federal dollars that flow to the state that we could apply for locally. There's a great hope that some of those dollars would flow to this new nurse-family partnership program.
Okay, thank you. With regards to the newborn home visits, you said the clients are served up to 1 year of age, but they get one RN visit. Is that correct?
No, sorry. Infant mortality, the definition is any child who dies up until 1 year of age. The newborn home visit is a one-time nurse visit by the Board of Health to women on Medicaid if they would like to receive it, any who live anywhere in the county.
Are part of these dollars being used for that?
Not eligible. So that's all levy
Medicaid.
dollars. It's not eligible for the McPhee. You mean for the federal? Are these dollars the
Yeah.
Moms First? No, that's a whole separate contract.
And then with Bright Beginnings, are they also entitled to a one-time visit?
Bright
or-
Beginnings is an ongoing home visiting program, and they may be served for at least by definition at intake you should be able to serve the family for at least 2 years if they so choose. And the end point is kindergarten. So the last time we would do an intake for that program would be at 4 years. You can do intake at prenatal. It's very flexible, which is one of the reasons we chose. It uses the Parents as Teachers model, which is a national evidence-based curriculum. It's got a lot of flexibility.
Okay, and it looks like this contract is starting, it started already on the first of the year. Is this an extension or is this a new agreement or how?
This is new. I mean, we have been doing this funding for, I think, at least 10 years, Bob, yes.
So an RFP went out for this?
No, not an RFP. We're contracting with another public entity, so we did a justification for, other than that form that we have to do.
Okay. All right, if there are no additional questions, comments, or concerns from the committee, I'd like to make a motion to move this. It looks like we need second reading suspension. Is that correct, Dr. Dorman?
That would be
Okay.
great.
All right.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to move this to second reading suspension. Do I have a second? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Let's move on to item B. Council Clerk, if you'll read that into the record.
Resolution number 2016-0045, authorizing the contract with Starting Point, the amount not to exceed $1,429,090 for the Teacher Education and Compensation Help Program, Early Care and Education Professional Development System, and Early Care and Education Center Capacity Expansion System for the period 1/1/2016 through 12/31/2017.
All right, Dr. Dorman, you're back up.
Sure. So what we wanted to do was present you with, so this is the summary slide with just talks about all three of the contracts, but I'll move on specifically to this one. So just to go back 16 years to the beginning of Invest in Children. Really a central focus when this new early childhood initiative was born 16 years ago was around increasing quantity and then quality of childcare in all of the multiple types of settings that children are cared for in our community. And so what you'll be hearing about today are three contracts that are all supporting those programs that were born 16 years ago and have accomplished a lot. So the first one is the Center Professional Development Program. And this is a focus on helping centers maintain and improve the quality of care that they deliver. The new twist that has occurred since this contract and this program was first developed is we now have a tiered quality rating system in Ohio for centers and now family child care homes as well, called Step Up to Quality. And a big push through this contract and the work of Invest in Children and other contracts has been, it's a voluntary rating system, but we want centers to get rated and hopefully be rated. It's a 5-star scale now, between 3 and 5 stars, which denotes a high quality program. So the latest twist in this is that now in statute, there is the requirement that by 2020, which is now less than 4 years away, it seemed so far away when they first talked about it, all child care centers that receive any type of public dollars, and actually it's any child care setting that receives public dollars, which includes preschools, public preschools, and family child care homes, must be rated in the Step Up to Quality system by 2020. So we have a lot of work to do across the state, a lot of work to do. And so Starting Point, our lead agency locally in this effort, the State Designated Resource and Referral, has a charge, and we support them in this work and have a goal for this year to get at least 80 new centers, I mean centers that are unrated now, into rated in Step Up to Quality. Of course, we hope they'll be highly rated, but the first step is get them rated. So a lot of work is being done to support that. There's training, there's technical assistance, getting all of the paperwork done to submit to the state is a big deal. And then the state comes out, walks around, every staff person has to understand, the program and be able to talk back to the state inspector in a way that shows they understand what are the quality standards, et cetera. It's a really big deal. So a lot of training and technical assistance is required. So we've looked at what needs to happen for Cuyahoga County to get all of the centers who have contracts with the state, where do we need to be in 4 years? And that means we need to go at a rapid clip of 80 of these centers in Step Up each year. So that's the work that's being done here. And it's challenging. We're optimistic. We've been doing this work for a long time, so we're in a lot better shape than a lot of communities because of the work of Invest in Children and of Starting Point. And Billy Osborne Fears is here, the director of Starting Point, who's really the one working this. So if you have detailed questions, I'm sure she'd be happy to answer them.
Are there any questions from the committee?
Madam Chairperson, just a
Yes.
broad
Sure.
question. Do you have any sense for how this is playing out across the state? I'm trying to
Yeah. I go to monthly meetings in Columbus. They're not losing sleep. I mean, they're worried. I mean, this is
different types, so many.
It's a heavy lift.
So many different types of communities.
Right. I think we are in a much better place than many communities because of the infrastructure that we've built here for we've been working this now really for 16 years and continued. And while other communities have an R&R, in a region, and Starting Point's regional, so all parts of the state have that. They don't have the extra support that we have here with the dollars that we provide to Starting Point to go above and beyond what the state provide. So it's people are, I have to say, I think people are nervous. Would you agree with that? Yes. Yes, there's, yeah.
Question that I have for you, Dr. Dorman. It looks like, so these dollars are strictly just to get our centers kind of up to speed with the state mandate? This is a state mandate?
Well, I mean, the work has been going on always to just improve quality, maintain, first step is maintaining your license, which is basic safety and health issues. And then the next step is to go beyond that and improve quality. And that's something that we've always been working on. Having this state mandate has now put even more urgency on the work and made it much more specific in what the goal needs to be. So it's not just improve quality, because we didn't have a quality rating system when it started. It's like get into the rating system, and then hopefully, so the other kicker is by 2025, all of those centers have to be highly rated, and that's making people really, really nervous. So first we got to get everybody in who's serving publicly funded kids by 2020, and then within the next 5 years after that, they all have to be high quality. So that's the even heavier lift that lies. I mean, we all agree this is what should happen. I mean, every advocate thinks this is great. It's just we're doing the hard slog of the work right now. So
With no state dollars?
well, limited
Okay.
state dollars.
Will we have to hire additional staff to execute?
This is this is maintaining effort. So no, this is just keeping things going. It's just very targeted in terms of what our goals are now, and the metrics very clear.
Okay. All right, if there are no additional questions, comments, or concerns from the committee, I'll make a motion to move this resolution to the full body of the council under second reading suspension. Do I have a second? Second. Thank you. All in favor? Say aye. All right, this will move to the full body of the council. Council Clerk, will you please read the next item into the agenda?
Resolution number 2016-0046, authorizing a contract with Starting Point, the amount not to exceed $2,867,102 for the Family Child Care Home Professional Development System for the period 1/1/2016 through 12/31/2017.
Thank you. Dr. Dorman?
Yes, here I am again. So this is the analogous program for our Type B licensed family child care home providers. So these are providers who care for up to 6 children in their home. They are licensed by the state. And again, this is an effort that has been going on in terms of improving quality for 16 years. And again, with this new mandate from the state that they all must be rated, we have a goal looking at, right now there's about 700, a little less than 700 of these homes in Cuyahoga County. About 100 are either rated or in the pipeline to be rated. That leaves us with 600 that need to be rated within the next 4 years. Hence, our goal is 150 per year to be rated and step up to quality. So we're working it. Or I should say, really, Starting Point and their partners are working it. So it's a very clear goal. So the way we're approaching this, to be real, is some of these homes are just not going to be willing to do this, and we don't want to waste time and effort. So Starting Point is reaching out to 150 in each cohort and saying, are you on the train? Are you going to go there? We'll work with you. We'll get you there. Are you really telling us you're not interested, that you're going to go out of business by 2020? Because nearly all of these, if not all of these Type B providers, take child care vouchers, publicly subsidized kids. And in which case, we don't want to waste time with you. We've got other folks to get on board. So that's what the charge to Starting Point is this each year, is to be in touch with at least 150, get as many who say they're going to move forward and get rated and figure out who is going to just, sort of fade away. so that we can reach that goal in 2020. And the crucial part is, if we don't have enough providers rated, kids will not have a place to go. So what good is having a child care subsidy if you can't find a provider who'll take it? So, I mean, there are some real, very serious ramifications for children and families if we don't get there. So that's what's really making everybody nervous. It's not, it's the state mandate, that's one issue, but what's the real world consequence? Families will not have a place to take their kid and use their voucher, their subsidy.
Thank you,
That's what's motivating us.
Thank you, Dr. Dorman. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns from the committee? This seems to be very similar to the previous piece of legislation, with the exception that this is for the child care at home, child care facilities, if you will. So if there are no comments, questions, or concerns, I'd like to make a motion to move this to the full body of the council under second reading suspension. Do I have a second? All in favor, please say aye. It's been properly moved in second. This will go before the council as well. And last but not least, if the council clerk will read the next item into the record.
Resolution number 2016-0047, authorizing a contract with Starting Point in the amount not to exceed $3,967,986 for the Special Needs Child Care System for the period 1/1/2016 through 12/31/2017.
Okay, Dr. Dorman, this looks like special needs versus
Right.
home and,
So this is a little different.
okay.
So a number of years ago, and you still see from time to time these headlines, children expelled from preschool. There's even something out there that claims more kids are expelled from preschool than from K to 12. I don't know where they get that statistic, but it's not true in our community. And the reason is special needs childcare. So this program was developed because children, just like the special ed rules and federal law for children who are school age, that you must allow children to attend public school. They're entitled to it. The same law, IDEA, applies to preschool, actually, to child care. Providers, by law, federal law, must accept kids with special needs. But providers often don't have the training and the resources to know how to manage kids with special needs. And so what this program has done, and again, it's led by Starting Point, but we have a number of agencies who do the work in the field. We have the Board of Health, who works with providers who have a child with medical needs, and I'll tell you a quick story in a minute. We have Achievement Centers that works with families who have a child with developmental needs, and then we have 5 agencies who, 6. We have 6 agencies who do work when there's a child with a behavioral issue. And that's the lion's share of the work, is kids who have the behavioral issues, but we also do medical, developmental, medical equipment, if needed, is provided, et cetera. And so what happens is any child care provider calls the special needs central coordinator at Starting Point and says, we've got a child with, we've got this issue. Send in the Marines, so to speak. And so the special needs program figures out which agency should go, and a technical assistant specialist, an expert in that area, whether it's a nurse or a social worker, et cetera, will go out and work with the program to help them so that that child is able to stay in the setting and be cared for appropriately. So a very recent success story was a child, a 3-year-old, who had started preschool and had just been diagnosed with epilepsy and was having fairly frequent seizures. And so the parent needed the child care, but was very nervous about leaving the child. You can imagine the child care staff were nervous too. They didn't know how to handle it. So the Board of Health nurse goes in, does the training and technical assistance for them, trained all the staff, left. Not very long later, after that, the child did have a seizure. The staff were a little nervous. As they reported, they kept talking themselves through it, what they were told to do. They managed the seizure. the child is able to remain in the child care setting. And Tom Barris is actually going out, TV reporter, tomorrow to film a story about that. The family's willing to talk about that. And as part of communications related to what does the levy pay for, this is what the levy pays for. So you'll be able to see that on the news, hopefully. I don't know when it's going to, he's filming tomorrow, I'm not sure, it can be a lag time when it actually appears on TV, but that specific story. So that, I think what it does in addition to helping the provider, especially around the behavioral issues, deal with a particular child, what we find sometimes the problem's really the adults who aren't trained to know how to deal with the child. And so the level of quality really is raised for all the kids when you learn new techniques and ways to work it. So it's been a very successful program, serving over 1,300 children a year.
Thank you, Dr. Dorman. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns from the committee? If there are none, no, I'd like to make a motion to move this to the full body of the council under second reading suspension. May I please have a second? Second. All right, all in favor, please say aye. Aye, and this will also move to the full body of the council. Thank you for the presentation. Do you have an update, it looks like? Or
Yeah,
yes?
well,
Okay.
I just want to take a minute to give you some updates. So I know you know Bob Stabe, who's Associate Director, and Anja Abdullah, who you've met before. We have a new member of our team, Daniel Moss, who is formerly, we stole him from Starting Point in full disclosure, but he replaces Nikia Robinson, who actually became a nurse, and now you'll see her at the Cleveland Clinic. But we're delighted to have Daniel, and so Daniel is program manager in the child care area. So wanted just to introduce you. I thought also you might want to hear just a quick update on what we are now calling UPK 2.0 because we don't have a better name, but the new $10 million might be the way you think about it, that we're very grateful got added to our budget this year to expand UPK. So what I can tell you is, as you know, the plan was from the beginning, this is a public-private partnership, and that the public $10 million would help to stimulate private giving. So there's a very robust fundraising effort going on in the philanthropic sector led by Paul Clark. And I think things are going pretty well. And we're looking forward to, I think there's some hope that there'll be an announcement. We'll be ready to announce something at State of the County in terms of the dollars that have been raised. But there's some, I think we've got some significant commitments. Nothing's really public yet, but that's sort of where we are. We're looking at, there is going to be the partnership committee, which will have the oversight of the funds and which council has representation on. We're drafting some bylaws now for how that entity would operate. It will not be an official public entity. Talked about that with the law department, said don't need to do that. But that entity will be advising on the release of the private dollars. And we're setting up a donor-advised fund at the Cleveland Foundation, and that's where all the private dollars will go. Of course, the public dollars are in the county. So I'm happy that's sort of where we are. We're hoping that once we sort of have those commitments, we'll be able to move forward to the next phase, which is convene the groups and move forward. Our first goal, though, will be in the fall to we love Universal Pre-Kindergarten. It's a fabulous program. It's heartbreaking that we have empty seats, and we want to address that with more generous scholarships for the lowest income families, and helping to make some part-day slots, full-day slots, because we know those are that's barriers for families. They're still cost, and having part-day when they really need full-day. So we're looking at the first step being, let's make sure all of our current providers have every slot full, and then starting the new program next year, fall of 17, which gives us some time to plan and really look and see what do we need to do to enhance the program, et cetera, because every program can improve. So that's where we are.
Well, thank you for the update.
Sure.
Did you guys have any questions, Councilman? No? All right. Well, we appreciate the presentation. We also thank you for the update regarding the UPK .2, 2.0. 2.0, okay. As we like to
We're
call it, the
open
$10
for
million
suggestions.
project.
We're open for suggestions on new names. No one likes my UP Cuyahoga name. Okay.
We'll stick
So-
with UPK 2.0. No.
Okay.
For now, if there are no additional questions, comments, or concerns, do we have any miscellaneous business from the council? There being none, any public comment related to the agenda?
No, Madam
unrelated?
Chair.
All right, well then this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.